I mean, all of this is doable within the time frame, albeit a bit late, because we've been drumming this warning signs for far too long. As you see, our proactive and formidable IT director and director of elections in the person of Dr. Mani Buama has been very critical of this process, right, even before 100 days to the election. So that's a very long period of time. And his concerns have just been validated by the act and reactions and responses of the EC, in the sense that he didn't want us to reach a very boiling point with time constraints. Then you have the EC saying or giving excuses that this is what is happening. But all of this stem from evidential values. We're just not blowing hot air or trying to stall a process. We gave evidence. For example, the issue of Pusiga, the transfers between Tamale South and Pusiga was unauthorized, right? And when you look at this in statistical terms, that's what we call incidentals. So this is an incidental case. If that has been rectified, what is the guarantee that we don't have multiples of similar cases in the system? So this gives us a valid point, and it's a warning sign to us all. We're just not doing it for the NDC, but we're doing it for all smaller parties, including the MPP. Because, and I really...
Smaller parties, including the MPP. Yeah, is that what you said?
Well, it depends on how you interpret it. Right, because you are a party in government that seem to be aloof about electoral processes. Right, so we decide to take the charge as a responsible opposition to fight for these to be done. In any case, what we are simply calling for is a simple independent forensic audit. How is this far-fetched? Right, where we say we as a political party have the capacity to assist in this process. Then we have an independent international body such as the UNDP that are happy to assist in the process. Where have we gone wrong in demanding this? Right? How is this any difficult a process for the EC to respond to? But for me, the worrying concern with the Jane-headed EC is this. She comes from a think tank world, civil society for that matter. It's not called the third sector for nothing. They play an integral role in actually ensuring that the right is done. And if you went to the IEA's website or you see their activities, they say they were what? Fostering multi-party democracy. Right? Promoting presidential debates and what have you. You've now been given the mandate and you behave tyrannically. I don't understand where she's coming from with all of the responses that we give. More so, this is the most packed or colored EC we've ever seen, given the deputies that we have. Nothing personal against them, but we all know their historical background. So when we have a very colored and checkered EC in terms of appointments at this apex and hierarchy, it is only responsible for a leading opposition party to exhibit strength and formidability in calling for accountability, and which is what we are exactly doing. How is this? In any case, you have a president who went to a bar conference and decides to respond to issues such as this, saying that the independent EC is meant to make some, no political party can make announcements. When in 2016, John Bodi and the likes made announcements, their evidence in 2020, where they called elections. And today, he's before a podium, before the Ghana Bar Association, advocating, exhibiting traits like Caligula in ancient Rome. So these issues are very fundamental, and I think that the NDC just not only calls on other political parties but stakeholders and the diplomatic community. For me, that is critical here. We are calling on the diplomatic community to stand up for us to scrutinize this colored EC and ensure that the right thing is done. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here. Annie, how is this far-fetched? How are any of these difficult? We still have 80 days to go. How much does a forensic audit, or how long would a forensic audit take? When we, as a political party, say we have the capacity to assist, the UNDP says it is ready to assist. Why are you running away? What have you to hide? When we have seen the provisional register has problems. That is why we return to IPAC to fight for all of these. And this is not the first time this has been raised by our director of elections at the IPAC level. So in any case, what is even happening now is that we are rendering IPAC useless. Because if we are there to deliberate among all of these things and Georgia, they shouldn't be sipping out into the media. So far, what response has the Jean Mensa-led EC in terms of demands of accountability, transparency, and the credibility of the election responded to? None whatsoever. So for me, this gives a cause for concern. It is worrying. And if anybody, including whatever associations they are, the Christian Council, the Muslim associations, what now is the time to support this clarion call by the NDC to ensure that the right thing is done. Because if we are talking about peaceful election, it is just not happening on D-Day, or it's not a snapshot. It is a process, and the process starts with the registration and the credibility of the register. If we go into an election without believing in the credibility of the register for that election, how will we see peace in it? So this is where the peaceful process starts. So if there's any advocacy or anyone requiring or demanding the peaceful nature of this election, now is the time to voice it out and support the NDC as a responsible opposition to ensure that this is done. And it's as simple as that.
This is what the Catholic bishop said. They said Catholic bishops urge EC to ensure impartial, lawful electoral process during the December polls. The Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference has asked the Electoral Commission to ensure that all electoral processes are carried out impartially and in accordance with the law. According to the GCBC President, Most Reverend Matthew Jemfi, the EC must facilitate open communication with stakeholders and address concerns regarding the electoral process promptly and transparently. So, quote, we trust the EC will uphold its mandate with transparency, said Most Reverend Jemfi, who is also the Bishop of Sunyani, in a communique issued in Accra yesterday ahead of the upcoming elections. Turning to the security agencies, he urged them to keep up with their responsibility of maintaining peace and order. That's what he urged. The Catholic Bishops' Conference said.
This is a good call, but he has to go a step further.
I was wondering, is that all you can say?
No, this is very vanilla in the sense that it's just, okay, EC do A, B, C, D. What have they inferred in the statements, the questions, the evidence that the NDC has produced? These are the calls you should be making.
So they have to speak to the issue.
They have to speak to the issues and ensure that it's done.